All right. As you can see, we probably didn't quite expect this many people, but sorry about the accommodations. That standing room, let the ladies sit down and the guys can stand up. And we'll try to get through this thing and not keep you here all night. It's temperature's kind of going up in the room anyway. So I'm going to start this thing off by introductions. My name, if you don't know me, my name is Ron Cotton, and I'll kind of be the moderator here tonight, and we'll try to get through this presentation as soon as we can. And just as an announcement, we gave you a card as you came through the door, a little 3x5 card, and we're asking that you would fill that out. It's strictly voluntary. You have no commitment. Doesn't mean anything other than it gives us an idea after we get out of here how many potential members or members that we're going to have, so we get a feel of whether this thing is going to work or not. So if you would fill out that Nutcracker Equity Membership card, a little 3x5 card, and then turn it in at the back table when you leave. Also, they will have at the back table right there, we'll have 5 or 6 people, and there is actually an equity golf membership purchase agreement that you could sign up for tonight if you would like. If not, you're more than welcome to take one with you. We would ask only those people that are truly interested in becoming a member to take one of these. We just have to print more of them, and you can fill that out, read it, and bring it back into the Nutcracker Golf Course to Gary Guffey if you're so inclined to become an equity golf member in the Nutcracker Member Golf Club. Let me see what else I've got. I think that takes care of what we've got going on back there in the way of paperwork. And you'll be able to make out your check and join tonight if you want to. And as I said, you can do that tomorrow at the Nutcracker Golf Course. Gary will be down there to take those checks for the people that are wanting to sign up. I'd like to start by giving you just a little bit of short history. How did we get here? What are we doing? Well, I'll tell you how it started. Just 3 months ago, on June the 20th, the Anthonys, who own the golf course, sent out an invitation to certain people to come to a meeting of the Anthonys. We weren't told what the meeting was about, but we came to a meeting. There was 3 members of the Nutcracker Golf Club invited. That was myself, Frank Beatty, and John Jakeley. By the way, John Jakeley, you don't see him here today. He's in Colorado on vacation. But in this meeting on the 20th, the Anthonys made their proposal and told the people who were there. And they also, in addition to the 3 Nutcracker members that they invited to this meeting, they also invited the PPOA Board of Directors. I don't know if they invited all of them, but there were 2 or 3 of the Board of Directors from the PPOA there. The General Manager, Michael Bartholomew, was there. They had the PPOA attorney, in addition to the Anthony's attorney at that meeting, and they made their proposal to us, and I won't quote exactly word for word, but here's what they basically told us or offered to us, that they were going to, their intentions were to get out of the golf business. That was the underlying theme of this meeting. And they gave us, the people, 3 options. The first option they gave was that they were willing to let the members of the Nutcracker Golf Course put together a consortium to purchase the golf course from the Anthonys. They set some dates and deadlines to get a positive response from the Nutcracker members if they were willing to go forward to purchase the golf course. If that didn't happen, they were going to sit down and negotiate with PPOA to see if they had now developed an interest in purchasing the golf course. And the third option was they might take it to a third party, somebody outside of that, or they were going to reevaluate how they maintained that golf course, or even if they left it as a golf course. That's what they said. We can believe what we want to believe. I'm telling you, that was the cause of the meeting. So therefore, the three of us, myself, Frank Beatty, and John Jakeley, sat down with the Anthonys and tried to put together, or did put together, a letter of intent of what we would do about purchasing the golf course. We'll get into that in the presentation on how that came about. So that's how we got here. And in addition to that, when we had the three of us, we recruited Gary Duffy, who is our club manager, who's the guy that knows what the expenses are to run the Nutcracker. Without trying to get a letter of intent on purchasing it, we had to know what were the expenses, what does it take to run this golf course, what's the revenue, what do you get for revenue, so we could try to determine whether or not we could go forward with a purchase agreement on the golf course. So Gary's helped us all along with that, and then from that, we retained the services of the Addison Law Group for the legal aspect of just how we do this, putting together contracts. So we contacted them and had an arrangement for them to help us in putting together contracts and the legal aspect of doing this. It was a strong recommendation from that group, the Addison Law Group, that if you're going to start this thing, you really need to have a board of directors to take control of it if you get to closing and you can close this thing. So their recommendation was strong that we really needed 5, and they recommended the 3 people that had done the negotiation, trying to put together the letter of intent and the purchase agreement, and to select 2 more people for the board. So therefore, that's what we did, and that's where I could like to introduce the people at the table. We have now selected 5 board members to start out. If we get the contract and we can get this contract signed, these 5 board members will be your board for the first year. Once we get a membership, then we'll go to a vote after the first year and vote in 5 members per the bylaws, and there'll probably be a rotation so we don't turn over the same board every year. That 2 and 3, that'll be in our bylaws that will spell that out. So we have Morris Van Oy will be one of our board members, and next to him is Randy Blakemore. Randy is our superintendent that runs the golf course and does all the maintenance, and I'll speak for Randy. He has agreed to stay on as the superintendent if we can get the contract. So he's agreed to that. I'm glad that I wouldn't have spoke for you, Randy. The other new board member is Larry Swift, is going to be one of the board members. Next to him is Frank Beatty, one of the original guys that got called to this meeting. Next to him is Gary Duffy, and Gary has agreed to stay on as our club manager under the new golf club if we get the contract. So we'll keep... Basically, what we're going to do is keep the golf course running just like it does today. That's our intention, that there won't be any changes in the way we operate the golf course. And next to him is Randy Addison. And at this point, Randy's going to take over the mic and explain to you all how the Equity Club is going to work. So, Randy?
Thank you, Ron. Wow, good afternoon. And first of all, I'd like to compliment you all on your support and being here. This is a wonderful turnout. Let me tell you a little bit about our firm. We're a little unusual. Addison Law Firm is now in our 38th year. We are solely a firm that's a boutique in the golf club and hospitality industry. I started with Bob Dedman when he had 13 clubs, and since then we've been involved in over 1,500 clubs throughout the United States. So we live day to day with clubs operations, with acquiring them, with putting together programs, membership, and also for members to be buying the clubs. In the last 5 or 6 years, there's been a real need for members to purchase the clubs from the developers. We've had numerous clubs from Hawaii to Florida to Vaquero in Dallas, Dallas National in Dallas, just a few of them that we've been involved in handling it for the members. Buying a golf club is like buying a small city. There are a lot of complicated issues involved, but we were able to now get that list to a narrow item, and we can handle that to make sure you have a nice, clean closing. I want to compliment the guys on the board. It's a real honor to serve with you, and also to step up and do this. Can be a very thankless task, but you've got a real strong opportunity here. Of all the deals we have pending right now, and we have probably 4 different transactions going on in just the member acquisition side, this is the one that I can actually say is the easiest because of the way it's been structured and because of the buy-in from the members. Let me start you off with a few slides to kind of tell you how the process works. So what is Nutcracker Member Golf Club, Inc.? We have already formed it. It's a not-for-profit association. When you join the club, you become what's called an equity member. So what does that mean? That means that you have the right to use the club on paying your dues. You have the right just like any other private club. And you also have the right that in the event for some reason the club dissolves at a later date, you have to liquidate the property, you would participate pro rata in the liquidation proceeds. But it's basically formed for a not-for-profit purpose. They're not shares issued, you're a member in a not-for-profit organization. The important thing about that is that there is no individual liability. This note that's being granted will be given back to purchase the club as a non-recourse note, which means it's only against the property. The entity is not liable. The entity is liable, but no individual is liable. As a member of the club, you're not liable to any vendors. You're not liable for any acts on the golf course. You're just a member of a not-for-profit club, but that is a valid corporation that stands between you and that exposure. So that's what would be the buyer of the property. We have provided a letter of intent to the Anthonys, and the next step after that, after today's meeting and successful moving forward with the membership, will be to prepare what we call an asset purchase agreement. It's a very detailed agreement that lists all the property we're buying, what we're assuming, just everything possible that you can think of in a contract that's much more than just buying a house. When you purchase an equity golf membership, who's available? Anyone that's a current member or anyone that's not a current member of the Nutcracker Golf Club can buy an equity golf membership. The process is to fill out a membership purchase agreement, which basically just provides that you're purchasing the equity golf membership, paying you $600. If you're not a member of the club already, we need to have you fill out one other form, which is a membership application, but just list your name, address, email address, etc., so we can put you in the directory accurately. So the process is very easy. It's really just to make a decision, sign your membership agreement, and pay your $600. Now, what's the $600 relate to? Well, let me give you some examples of some other clubs we've got going right now. Right now, the clubs we have going, the membership contribution for the members to buy the club range from $50,000 per member to $25,000 a member to $10,000 a member. You're buying this club for an equity contribution of $600 a member. And when I go into the advantage of why you want to be a member-owned club here in a minute, you'll see why that's a heck of a bargain. So, in the golf business, and we see this all around the country, and the truism is that so goes the club, so goes the community, so goes the community, so goes the golf club. Your golf club is a very critical part of the value of your residence. I can sit here for a long time and tell you about clubs that members didn't buy it or that fell through, and they basically let the grass grow. We had one in Houston that fell through. The members didn't want to come up with the money to buy it, so the guy just let grass grow, and then that state law, you can basically let it grow until hay height, so he didn't bale it until it got about this high. They came back and decided to buy the club. But you don't need that kind of threat, because you've got a wonderful club, and you need to take ownership of it. A private golf club within a beautiful community like Pecan Plantation is a real amenity. Because as you get more and more people playing golf, the ability to get on the golf course in your plantation course is going to get more and more difficult. A member-owned private course is a real advantage to you, and it's also transferable when you buy your house, sell your house. Okay. Here are some of the reasons why you want to do it. And I could go on for a long time, and I'll go very quickly. If you own the course, if the members own the course, and the homeowners own the course, you have long-term stability of ownership and operation. Once the members acquire, we I can't even think of one in all of our years, in 38 years, where the members have turned the club back over to someone else. So you have long-term stability and ownership. What's happening in the club business right now is that these things are turning over. And some of these owners that buy them are buying them solely to make a profit, and so your operations and your condition of your golf course goes down. You'll be the only private member-owned club in the Pecan Plantation. You will ensure your operation versus discontinuance. In other words, if someone else buys this course, and Anthony's have made it very clear they want to do something, they're tired of being in the golf business. And so if they sell it to a third party or decide to turn it back into Pecan Plantation, you will not have a golf course out your backyard. The good thing about a member-owned club, this is very important, if anyone else buys the club, they have to have a return on their investment. So if you buy a course, let's say their returns is 6 to 7%, you've got to take the purchase price, generate 7% of profit before that investor gets return on investment. In a member-owned club, you do not. That return on investment, that 6 or 7 or 8%, you keep to put back into capital repairs and placements of your golf course. That's the biggest problem we see in clubs around the country is they don't put the money back in the course to keep it in condition to make it a viable entity. It's a very important benefit to being a member-owned club. It provides the members, yourself, through your election of your board, to control the operation. If you decide you want to have expanded food and beverage, or if you decide you don't, you will control that process through the election of your own board of directors. It can't be pledged. This is another very important point. If you own it in this not-for-profit entity, you don't have to worry about someone who buys it and uses it collateral for a bank building or to buy 2 other golf courses. The next thing you know, you've got a bank that you're dealing with, and the banks are not nice to talk about. The first thing they do is board the thing up, come to their members, and say, hey, you've got to buy it. Oh, by the way, I need a 30% return on my bank investment. Very important point. And we already talked about the RI, return on investment is not available. And then in addition, once you become a member-owned club, it's amazing, and I've seen this so many times. It's just a more fun place. You take ownership of it. You take ownership of bringing new people in. It's just the feeling of camaraderie that you have in a true member-owned club. It's a reason we had private clubs to start with, and why we still have them all around the country. Very important point. And it's very important for your community. Okay, if we've had this kind of repeating a little bit, but I want to make sure you understand that if the Equity Club does not buy the club facilities, Nancy said they would first go back to Pecan Plantation and see if they wanted to buy it, because they've already turned down one vote on it. If he doesn't do that, then he's going to explore his options. And like any owner, this is nothing against the Anthonys. They've done a wonderful job in the community. But they're ready to get out of the golf business. So they're either going to sell it to another third party, who now has the problems I just talked about, or he may turn it back into Pecan Plantation, pecan trees again. You need to get control now. The only time, everyone we've started on, we've got to vote and we've got the deals done, except for one. And I'll give you a little story. It's called Cartier Golf Club. You may be familiar with. 3 of the finest golf courses in Colorado. The members were very close to buying it from a gentleman, but they got hung up on the price, and with the price of the homes, there's no reason for them to be hung up on the price, but they refused to close it. He ended up later, it went into bankruptcy. Those homes lost between 20 and 30% of their value because of that bankruptcy filing. It's now back up and running, and they're trying to recover their home prices. But they should have had a chance to get it, and they didn't get it. So what I'm talking about here is that you have a real opportunity, and they can take advantage of it. Okay, the purchase price that the Anthonys set, which is the same thing they'd offered to the Pecan Plantation, is $1,750,000. What's different about this purchase price is that almost all the times we're having to come up with all the money for an equity conversion for members to buy the club. In other words, we either have to raise it from the members or go get bank financing. That's not the case here. They are actually financing the entire purchase. and you've got very good terms. It's going to be no payment of principal and interest are waived for the first year. In other words, no payments the first year. And it's a 20-year amortized note. Now, you gentlemen and ladies that are in the finance business know a 20-year note, amortized note right now. It's just not happening on the commercial side, and this is a commercial loan. And after that, there's no early prepayment penalty, so if you ever want to pay it off, if rates go up and you want to just pay it off, you can, or refinance it. No prepayment penalty. And then starting with year 2, and for the next 8 years, the rate is fixed at 5%. After the end of 10 years, go back to the marketplace, and it's prime plus 1. It's locked in for another 5 years, and you do it again in the last 5 years. So now, based on the terms we're seeing in other transactions, that's an advantageous financing for you very much. What are we buying? Well, you're going to own pretty much everything. We're going to own everything. It's Nutcracker Golf Club. We're going to get all the real estate, the clubhouse, the recreation facilities, any of the all intangible assets, furniture, practice facility. You have a nice practice facility, maintenance facility, parking area. There's some adjacent land that's coming with it, the equipment, the inventory, trade name, the whole. Will be a complete transaction where you're basically buying the entire business. We're not buying the Orchard 12 ponds or pond number 12 and walking trails, as they're going to be not conveyed to the club. We didn't want those, didn't want the additional liability. Okay, what happens if we put up my $600 and you don't get enough members to do the transaction? Well, it's all going into an escrow account, and it'll be returned to you with no discount, no amount taken out. So it's totally secure that you'll get it back if we don't, but we're going to get it done. And some of the risk, I kind of go with this, some people are worried about what if I get a membership in this entity. Again, as I stated early in the beginning, you have no personal liability. It is a corporation. You're not liable to vendors. You're not liable on the note. The note is a non-recourse note, and therefore you really have no personal liability on the matter. And as far as assessments, they're basically running as I'll show you earlier, a break-even budget on the project to cover the debt service on the note and to cover all the operating expenses, and they won't require an assessment, which is important. So, as I started out in the beginning, for such a large group, this is not a hard decision, folks. It really is not. We're going to cut it off at 400. Excuse me, ma'am?
Can you go back to that number 9?
Sure. Okay, let me go over this a little more. Okay. Sure. One of the most frequent risks a member-owned club involves the members being assessed for operating deficits or capital improvements. Everybody know what an assessment is? Assessment is like, okay. Everybody knows what assessment is. All right. The goal of the Equity Club is that no members will be assessed for operating deficits or capital improvements. They could go out and incur debt if they had to, but they don't plan on it because we're going to have enough members to cover the cost of the operating costs and the debt service. Remember, and as I said earlier, a for-profit club not only has those operating expenses, but also has a return on investment, which is a huge number. You don't have that in a member-owned club. And you have the right to basically set your dues and charges through your board, who you elect. They're the ones who are going to determine. You're going to determine finally how the operation is going as far as economically. And they're going to go through the financials for you in just a minute, Ron is. So we'll go back to that, show you how the real numbers are. Any other question? Okay. So again, I don't really think it's a hard decision. I think that we're going to cut it off. The membership's going to be cut off at 400 members. So you have a very viable private club. And based on 38 years of experience, I have to admit this is really an easy one, because for the amount of money that the contribution is required to come in and the benefits, the numerous benefits of this being a member-owned private club really weigh heavily in favor of acquiring an equity membership and moving forward. And acquiring it from Anthony's now, and this is the most important, while you can control your own destiny. If it gets out of their hands and the third party, you'll be here having meetings about things you don't want to have about. Lawsuits or whatever. Get control of your own destiny, own the asset. It's very important in your homes. It's a very important asset for a cotton plantation. But do it now while you have the opportunity to do it. Ron, you want to go over some of the numbers? And we're going to be here for questions afterwards.
Yeah, I'm not going to take a long time, but we will have some time for Q&A, so hold your questions and we'll get to that here pretty quick. Okay, so here's the deal. The Equity Golf membership and purchase agreement, the initiation fee is going to be $600. Your monthly dues are not going to change. They'll be $225 plus taxes, whatever it is you're paying today to the Nutcracker. That's what we're going to start with. Now, currently, we have 320 current members in the Nutcracker golf course, and when I made this slide about 10 days or 15 days ago, Mr. Guffey says that number's gone way up. What do you think it is now?
We're better than 330.
Better than 330 is what our current membership is in the Nutcracker Golf Club today. And we're going to, if we can get the contract on this and purchase it, we'll limit the equity membership to 400. With 400, things will be able to run pretty smooth here at Nutcracker. Here's a revenue and expense of the work that we as the committee and with the help from Gary Guffey and the Anthonys providing us with any and all documentation that we requested. They opened up the books. We took the ledger, not just their tax form, not just their P&L, because there's things in the tax return and stuff that we won't be liable for. So I'm telling you, we scrubbed those numbers pretty good to know exactly what it takes, or what it has taken to run this golf course for the last couple of years. So, based on 300 members at $225 times 12 months, you can do the math, the revenue from the membership would be $810,000 a year. The additional revenue that we looked up through the ledgers, their revenue in 2016 was $230,000 from additional revenue. That additional revenue came from things like the fitness club. There's a social members, I think there's 100 and some odd social members that belong to Nutcracker. That's included, and also any of your guest fees that were charged to the club. So those are the additional revenues in 2016. That totals up to $1,040,000 for revenue in any given year. Now, our expenses, again, we went through the ledger, we got all the numbers provided on what they spent money on. And that number in 2016 came out to $862,521 what it cost to operate the Nutcracker Golf Course. There were some expenses that the Anthonys used that we won't have. For instance, they paid off the loan on the greens they put in, and that's why a lot of people had heard that, well, they're losing money. Well, they didn't lose money. Now the IRS is a different story. When you turn in your tax form, it might look like you broke even or lost money, but we went through the numbers, and that's what it cost in 2016, and we believe that's what it'll cost us to run our first year when we acquire the golf course. So therefore, our net cash flow is going to be $177,479. But here's the kicker. That does not include the principal and interest on the note. So the first year, we're going to have this net cash flow, but year two, we're going to have to service the note. And you can do the math on that. We figure it comes out to about $135,000 a year to service that note. So if we did that, that'd just about eat up all of our cash flow. What that cash flow is going to do for us is to set up a capital reserve. We're going to get all the equipment, 90% of it, and I can refer this to Randy. We own all of the equipment that we use to maintain the golf course. There's a few leases out there still on some of the equipment. I won't go into the details. If you want to know what it is, come and talk to Gary or Randy, but we do have some of it on leases, a few of the mowers, but most of the stuff out there is owned, and it all comes with the contract. We get all of the equipment that we use to maintain the golf course. But you still have to develop a capital reserve to take care of things that are going to happen, whether it's pumps or whatever repairs that we have to make. So we're starting out with 300 members. We figure we're going to need another 50 members the first year to accumulate up to 350 to service that debt and still be able to put the $177,000 a year into a capital reserve for such things as replacing mowers and equipment and infrastructure of the golf course. So that's basically our revenue and expense. So we're pretty comfortable with the numbers that we've come up with. So we have set ourselves a goal. We've set ourselves a goal for September 1st, 2017, to have sufficient equity membership commitments to move forward towards the closing. In other words, we can't wait forever. We really don't have a time frame from the Anthonys, but they're looking for, they don't want to hang on forever, whether or not we can make this thing go or not. So that gives us about another 10 days for people to step up and get commitments. And we think we're going to need 300, as I showed you in the slide, to make this thing go forward. So we'll be making a decision whether we can take it forward or have to regroup. And if we, I don't know what the number is. If we only get 100 members, yeah, we probably wouldn't go forward. But we're looking for 300 members to be able to take this down the road and close. We're probably not going to be able to close on the golf course. Probably the earliest would be 1st October, maybe the 1st of November. If things go well, we could close on it. In the meantime, any of you Nutcracker members, you'll continue to pay your dues just as you do today. It'll go to the Anthonys until such time as we go to closing and take over. Then you do the same thing. You'd make out your check or whatever you do to the Nutcracker. It would just go into our account. When I say our, that's all of us, are the owners of the Nutcracker. So that's about the end of our story, guys. I would like to open it up to question and answer. I've got a mic over here. If you would turn that on. I would like for you to come to the microphone, if you would, if you just start a line back there. If you would try to hold your questions, if you've already heard one, I would hope that you wouldn't repeat it, but we will try to answer any of your questions, hopefully not take all night, but we will try to answer any questions that you might have. So,
yeah, excuse me, everyone. I'd like to introduce my partner, Tim Clow. He's going to be over there also with the mic, so we can now control what we're going on, and we look forward to your questions.
Ron, would you address the water for the future? Okay. Who wants to take that? Anybody on the board?
The Anthonys have guaranteed us water for the life that we own that course. I think it's 250 acre feet. And they have agreed to provide that with us. The standard rates from the BRA, plus there's a transportation charge because they have to put it in their pipes and get it to us. But yeah, it's the same thing as Pecan has.
And we've got that through their assigns and successors agreed that will go with the contract in case they sell out. But as you all know, all the water that is used inside a pecan plantation comes out of the Lake Granbury, and it comes through naturally BRA permits, but the physical water is pumped through Anthony's. They got the only well, the only pump station, and they pump it in, they meter it to Pecan and charge them. That's what they're going to do for Nutcracker. They will meter the water that we use, and that's what we'll pay, whatever the BRA rate is, plus their expenses for their infrastructure for getting water. Okay, and next question.
Thank you. I have a question that may concern all of us since we're older residents. What is our liability in the event that we needed to drop out of the club? Would we be liable for dues until we transferred our membership, or what?
You want me to answer that, or you want me?
No, you will not be. It's not going to be Hotel California. If you need to leave the club, you'll be able to leave the club. Right. We would like you to bring a new member with you when you leave the club, but no, it's not.
That's my main question.
Anybody else? We got one. Come on up to the mic, please. Come up to the mic so everybody can hear the question, so I don't have to interpret what you're asking. Anybody else that's got a question, just please form a line back there, and we'll see if we can't get them all answered here pretty quick.
Hi, Vincent. What about the gym, Ron? Is that included?
Okay, the gym is separate. The fitness center, whatever contract you have today for the fitness center will be carried over under the new agreement with the Nutcracker. It will be separate. You can have it with your golf club membership or separately, just as it works today. Same price, same everything, day one.
Okay, will Randy be an equity member so that we know he's going to be here?
I don't know, you guys can come up with a fund to maybe pay him off if you'd like to make sure he stays, but
Well,
we have a commitment.
he's the key.
I'm here.
Yeah. There's only going to be one membership in the golf club. That will be, you will be either an equity member or you won't be a member. But yes, for golf. For golf.
There's only one membership for golf, that's equity golf. The social membership that's still required by the CCNRs will continue, and the fitness membership will continue, but only one membership for golf.
Yes, it is. Just as the Nutcracker is today. I won't quote all those, but it's you and your immediate spouse, and your kids under 25 living with you, going to school, military. It's whatever is with the Nutcracker agreement. That's what's going to. And I'm going to turn this over to the question I tried to answer for Randy, but I'd like Randy to answer the question about are you going to stay?
What are you talking about, me or him? I think.
Let's see other Randy. Randy? For the long haul. I love what I do. I've been in the business for 20 years. They can't hear you. Put it right in front of you. Yes. Yeah, I'm not planning on going anywhere anytime soon. Hold on. There we go. You got to wait 10 seconds for it to light up.
All right. No, I'm not planning on going anywhere. I love what I do. I love being a Nutcracker. I got an awesome staff. Without them, wouldn't have a golf course, really. But, I love what I do, love the members, love the course, so I'm here as long as y'all keep me around. Thank you, Randy. Do we feel as though we'll hire a golf pro?
No. Talk to Bob Estes, we got one. I'm not committing anything for you, Bob. Eastwood, sorry. Okay, next.
I think Randy may have already answered this question about social members. The people who currently have social memberships will be required to keep those social memberships?
Yes, that's recorded in their declarations, covenant conditions. They'll still be required to be a social member.
So that revenue stream will continue?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. And I'm not sure I understood what you were saying about assessments. What prevents the nonprofit from assessing us in case we have some major catastrophe that needs to be fixed?
Okay, they certainly can. They have the ability under the bylaws of the club to do an assessment. However, they also have the option to go out and get third-party debt to cover that. You also got to remember you're electing the board. So boards do not like the word assessment. Let me put it that way. So the way they've got it financed right now, that's not going to be necessary. We're also doing a capital reserve to cover items like that.
All right, Gary?
Does that one work? Yeah, and the other thing is if we do just make that decision, if the board does, you don't have to pay it. You can walk away. I mean, that's the same with, I've had 100 questions on what if I move to Florida? I still have to pay dues? No, you don't. It's all, you're paid up through the month in which you're in, and that's it. There's no other commitments.
I also hate to do hypotheticals. What if the greens had all died from the eclipse we had today? Then you're going to have to deal with it. We'll deal with it, and that's why we're going to set together a capital reserve. But yes, if you do, then we're going to have to deal with it as members. But if you're concerned about the irrigation system, we can ask Randy Blakemore, why don't you just tell us what kind of condition is our infrastructure in? You were out there every day. What does our golf course look like? The whole infrastructure.
The irrigation system, I believe it's still the original from 1996 when it opened. Majority of it, probably I'd say 75% is still in great condition. Well, I'd say good condition. It's, you get wear and tear after so many years. I mean, it only lasts so long. The water quality that we pump out of the lake has a lot to do with it. A lot of salts start corroding pumps. They just don't last forever. Other than that, I mean, I think the irrigation's pretty good right now. I mean,
let me make one comment on that. Remember that if someone else buys this course, they're going to have the same issue as to where those funds are going to come from, and they may decide to either A, borrow it, which may put them in bankruptcy, or B, not do the improvements, which means your course is not going to look the way it should look, or C, again, close it down, which would have a whole lot more effect on your home values than an assessment.
Okay, Bev?
Thank you, Ron. I have 3 questions. The first one are the bylaws. Are they available now for members to look at, or prospective members?
That's your first question. No, we do not. We are working on those bylaws. We have not finalized them. We're going to try to get that done by the end of this week, and Gary, we're trying to see if we can't get it on the Nutcracker's website. It's probably 30 pages for bylaws. We have taken some of our existing bylaws, adapting it to our individual situation. So we don't have them today, but we're getting close, and they will be published here, hope by the end of the week if we can.
Let me comment on that. That is what we do for a living. These bylaws that you're getting is probably, I think, some of the best equity club bylaws there are. It's a derivative of Desert Mountain Club, Dallas National, Vaquera, very fine clubs, but then basically toned down to the size of the club we have here. But it really deals with all the contingencies that you need to be able to handle in your club. Most equity clubs don't have these type of bylaws, but you'll be good. You'll like them when you see them.
Oh, I love bylaws.
I know you do. You can take them home, put them on your pillow.
Yeah, I already do that. My second question has to do with your cutoff date is September the 1st. And you're looking for 300 members. If you don't have 300 members by September 1st, let's say you have 250, are you going to continue, or what is going to be your next step after September 1st?
That's when we'll make that decision. We'll just have to make a determination, Bev, and we'll sit down and scratch our heads. If we don't have 300 members, we might come back to you and ask for more money. We'll just have to see. I'd hate to speculate. It's going to, as you can see by the numbers, it takes 300 to operate it. So that is a goal. If we go beyond that a few days and people are still, there's a lot of people out of town. There's a lot of people that are in Rio Dosa and everywhere. They're not here, and we've got calls that they want to join. So we're trying to give people enough time to get their check in and their commitment. So.
Let me ask for clarification on that, Ron. So if you don't have 300 members, but you have 250 members or 260 members, and you still need, then would you raise the $225 a month up to what you need operationally to get the money?
I think if they're that close, it is going to keep going. I mean, this is a matter of talking to your neighbors. If people have questions, we want to make sure we answer their questions, but they would just try to continue to get to the number they need to have.
It's a goal. It's not a commitment.
Okay. All right. My third question has to do with the default on the loan. If at some point over the course of, it's a 20-year note, is my understanding, is that what you said?
Yes.
If at some point that the Nutcracker membership club defaults on that, who owns that note, and would somebody else be eligible to purchase that?
The note is owned by the seller, Anthony's. Mm-hmm. They could assign it to another third party. I don't think they probably would. So if that case, it would be then whether a group wants to come in and buy the balance of the note off.
From the Anthony's or from the membership?
No, the membership.
Okay.
I mean, you can always stop that. There's multiple ways to do that.
Okay. All right.
That's why I said in all the years we've been doing this, I've never seen a member club go back to another third party.
Thank you.
First of all, thanks to all of you folks for all your hard work and for the presentation tonight. I think it was great. Can you put a copy of this presentation on the PPO website?
Yes, I got a commitment from our good friend Carl that this will be on the PPO website by the weekend, Carl. And he said yes, so there's your commitment.
Okay, thanks.
So,
the other question I have, I may have missed it, I've been out of town for a couple of weeks, but the original communications that came out said that the proposal was current Nutcracker members had until August 31st to make a decision. If it was not a decision made by Nutcracker current members, it would then go open to Pecan, and they would have until September 30th. So now we're saying September the 1st.
Yeah. That date has been reset. It's not a binding date right now on that August 31st letter.
Okay.
Anthony's rescinded that.
Okay, so do current Nutcracker members have a priority on the 400 membership list?
Gary, you want to answer that?
I don't have a mic.
Yeah.
Is it on?
Hello, yeah. What we're trying to do is give our members the first right of, to purchase those. That is our goal. Now, we can only do that for so long of a time. So,
right.
But our members, current members, will have a priority position on that, on the purchase.
Based on these cards that are going to be returned?
Yes. And those cards, we're going to run those against our member list. And from that, and I've got a whole list of people, 50 or 60 of them that are all in, and but they're on vacation,
right.
And some of these are new members as well.
Right. So what's the due date on having this card back in?
No, we want that for information, because all of you aren't going to sign this thing tonight. I'm sure some of you are going to go home and think about it, but we can take those cards and get an idea of where we are, and we'll know what members were here and which ones weren't, okay. And those we'll have to contact.
Okay, thanks.
It's just a matter of information. So again, please fill that out if you would. You have no commitment by doing it, but it gives us just that information that we need of how many we think we're going to have.
I will say that if you do go ahead and say yes, that you're interested in acquiring an Equity Golf membership, we will get the actual membership agreement. Please take it with you tonight, but if you need it again, we'll email it directly to you to get filled in and back to the club.
Okay, my question is this transferable? It was that we could withdraw anytime we wanted to. Can we transfer our membership if we wanted to someone? Say if I was to sell my home, could I transfer?
Yes, it's transferable with the sale of your home.
Yes. And as an individual, do you think the monthly dues would ever go down for a single?
I don't know. Let's put a vote to the mayor.
Make a vote on that.
Tough question.
I'll let you bring that up at the board meeting.
My name is Bob Kamen. I'm currently president of PPOA, and I'd like to make a comment first, and that is that it is in the best interest of this community for the Nutcracker golf course to be a successful venture. And so however it works, I pledge that at least the current board will do whatever we're asked. If your project moves forward, if there's any way that we can help, we will.
Appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
I think that in the history of Nutcracker and Pecan Plantation, there have been opportunities for PPOA to buy Nutcracker. My understanding is that, in fact, that PPOA did make an offer, and it was turned down by the Anthonys. Now, if someone with more information about the history might be able to correct me. But again, I think that PPOA, which is your organization, stands ready to purchase Nutcracker if this project doesn't work. And so when you talked about third parties, that's not what I heard when I was at the meeting. What I heard was that if the members were unsuccessful, then the PPOA would get the next opportunity to purchase. We don't want a third party coming in either. And so,
we did just say to people, we said that PPOA was second. It's just you have had one vote. You have to have a vote for the
of course, just like you have to have a vote.
Right.
But again, I would repeat that, I would also make this comment, that we polled each and every member of the board of PPOA, and every member said it would be in the best interest of the community for PPOA to own Nutcracker. So we have support from the board if this project does not work. Having said that, I wish you success, because if you purchase this golf course and come up with an appropriate business plan that makes it an ongoing successful venture, it's in the best interest of the whole community. So again, we're here to support it. If you guys get it working, and there's any way that we can help, we will.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Well, I was just, Ron, you might could answer this, but, you know, the Anthonys are very good business people, and if they're making $175,000 or $200,000 a year in positive cash flow, why are they wanting to sell it? Could it be an imminent upfront expense that they know is coming, such as the irrigation system, which would cost a lot of money? And is there someone qualified to verify the condition of the irrigation system and any of the other expensive assets that we would be looking at in the very near future?
Yep, that's Randy Blakemore. I think he gave that answer. I don't think I'll have him repeat it. He did give a good answer to that, but you'd have to ask the Anthonys why they're doing it. I could speculate. They did mention, well, I'm not so sure that they put out in public, but they are divesting themselves in a lot of their properties, and they've got a couple of children, Ben and John, looking forward to retirement, and we're told by Jim, the father, that none of the other family members are interested in managing the golf course. That's about where we're coming from, so I hope that's your answer.
My name's Bruce Connor. I'm a relative newcomer here. Julie and I have been here about 5 years. We live on the Nutcracker course. We have a major investment in this community, in our home. And the way I look at it is pretty simple. It's pretty black and white to me. We can either control our own destiny by taking this membership and running the club ourselves, or we can turn it over to a third party. And I've been there, done that, and I don't want to be there again. You talk about assessments. Well, don't worry about assessments. Worry about all your greens going bad. Worrying about your water system being shut down and not getting repaired or replaced. There are a lot of significant issues that I want to be in control of through my board, not some third party. And that's the way I look at it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Brian.
All right, we've got time for one more question. One more.
Okay, my name's John McConnell. I got a question. We've talked about, you know, if you decide you don't want to be a member, you know, you stop paying your dues, your membership goes, I guess, back to the club. On the positive side, if you get 400 members, and that's the limit, for the 401st person to come in, do they have to be able to acquire an ownership from somebody else that's already there?
Yes, or wait on a waiting list until somebody turns it in.
Basically how it works is that person that resigned, that membership would go on a resignation list, and based on the order of priority, they would be able to acquire it. Now, that's one thing you need to know that's a very benefit. If you buy an equity golf membership, it's transferable with your property, so you have a valuable asset now with your ownership of your lot.
Okay, so it's more or less
the 401st person that tries to get him will be on a waiting list, yes.
Right. Is it something where someone that has a membership could sell his, or?
It always comes back through the club. You don't have individuals selling memberships between individuals.
But as a property owner?
As a property owner, when you sell your property, you can sell, it goes automatically to your new buyer.
Okay.
Okay.
That's all right.
That'll be just a benefit for you. That'll be a benefit. I mean, basically, if the membership goes up to $1,000, it's still going to be paid to the club. You're not going to get any money back at that point. No.
No, the $600 is non-refundable.
Right.
We're going to close this thing down. If you've got any further questions, Gary Guffey and Frank Beatty will be at the Nutcracker tomorrow, and he can answer all of your questions if you've got any further questions. Don't hesitate, so we can close this thing down. Thank you all for coming, and please sign up.